Hey guys, this is Asad Siddiqui again, and today I'll be reviewing and providing you guys with an in-depth tutorial on the amazing B theme from Muffin Group. We will be talking about the option panel and how to get started with the theme by importing the sample layouts and how to basically work with the Muffin builder. Personally, I think there are three big things that are included in the theme that I really like. The first thing, of course, is it comes with premium plugins, which are pretty powerful and they cost a lot of money if you are just going to buy them and try to integrate that with the site. And this site not only comes with the premium plugins bundled in, but it also is integrated with them very nicely. Secondly, it comes with a 150 plus layout. So if you look at these layouts, they are super slick, nice and clean, and they have very modern look and feel to them. So basically you can achieve a website like this in matter of minutes. So basically you can import all this demo content and basically just change the content and use the Muffin builder to create your own layout as well. And I did provide a very detailed review on how to use the Muffin builder and how you can come up with layout. So please also make sure to check that video and you will get a fair idea on how to use the tool to create a layout that you really love. So the first thing is it has layouts, it has pre-built widgets, but the third thing that I noticed was the performance. So in terms of performance, because as you can see, it is using all these layouts are pretty slick, and they have animation effects and they have sliders and they have a bunch of things, but still there is no compromise on performance, which I really like. So today I will be showing you how to get started with the theme, import the demo content. We'll talk about options panel in detail, what kind of configuration is available and what things you can do out of the box, and how to install the theme, demo content, and start modifying it. So let's get started. So what I've done here is I have installed this fresh instance of WordPress here. It doesn't have any theme activated or anything. I'll show you how to do that from the startup, and basically all I did was to install the theme. So installing the theme is a pretty generic task, and the themes have documentation on how to do that. I'm sure you can find a bunch of videos as well. So it is a pretty easy task to do. And the reason I'm making this video is to give you an in-depth tutorial on the theme itself. So first off, what you need to do is to go to your backend, and you can do that by accessing the WP admin panel. Here you can see that I have a plugin called WordPress Reset because I was playing around with this theme, but I wanted to reset it so you get the same steps as I get. So the first thing I'm gonna do is activate the theme. So first, appearance, themes, and you will see that I have a B theme from Muffin Group installed. I will just activate it. In your scenario, you'll have to add it. So you will click on add new, select the theme from the directory where you have saved from theme forest, upload, choose file, and install. And once you do that, you will also start getting this box for the B theme here that you could select and activate. So I will just go ahead and activate it. Now you see that the theme is activated, but it requires some plugins to work with. So I will say begin install plugins here, and you see that it comes pre-packaged with Visual Composer, Layer Slider, and Revolution Slider. So those are pretty nice premium plugins that you'll have to pay a lot of money if you had to just buy the plugin. So this comes bundled in with the theme, which is great. I will select everything here and click on install. So now you can see that all the plugins were successfully installed. So I will go to return to required plugins, and now I'll have to activate them. So I'll select everything again and say activate and apply. And this should activate all the plugins that I have. Okay, so looks like all the plugins are done and that is out of our way. So if I look at the theme now, I'll just open it in a new tab. I had to open the visit side, I'm sorry. So once you click that, this is how the website looks. You see that the only thing that has happened is the theme got installed, but I don't have demo data or homepage or anything like that. So I see a bunch of inactive these are basically active widgets, but basically some widgets in my footer area and a page layout that looks like that. But how do I get from a page like this to a page like this? So this is a pretty crisp page and it's built with the new Muffin builder. It has a nice slider at the top and it's like a resume style page that I really like. I think you can do a lot with this kind of a layout, and it displays some nice builder elements that come with the Muffin builder. So we'll explore how to use them and how we can develop layouts like this in our site. So going right back to the theme demo, and what you need to do here is to go to theme options data, and once you click on that, it's going to bring up this drop down box and you can select demo here and select what demo you like. So the one I like is called profile right here. So I'm gonna import the demo data for profile, which is right here. I'll click on import attachments and say import demo data. So this takes a little while and you just have to be patient. When it's done, it'll show you a message that it's all done. You just have to be patient and not click on anything, because you can do it over and over and it can mess things up. So I am waiting for the demo data to get installed. While it's doing that, I don't think there is anything that I want to show you right now. I'll just click this so it doesn't show again. It says all done, have fun. So I'll start having fun with it now. So now if I refresh the page, it should show me an updated settings and a beautiful slide. Look at that. So everything like the demo logo is set up. I see an error here, which means my revolution slider is not installed. This is basically an error box that you see, the red one, and it is, I know it's saying revolution slider is not imported, or it cannot find a revolution slider with the name. So the next step will be to import the slider, and to do that I'll go to slider revolution and click on this slider revolution here. Once I click on that, I'm gonna say import slider and choose. By the way, these all sliders come with the theme, so the Muffin group was very nice to send me this theme and these sliders so I can create this demo, and I'm very thankful for that. So once you select the profile.zip, you click on import slider, and it should import the slider as well on my site. So it displays this message, and now I see this picture, which is the same picture that I was seeing on the demo. So now if I refresh the page, basically you will see that the site has a beautiful looking menu. It has a slider, and then it has a bunch of builder elements, and I have everything set up here. So this is like a one-page site. You see how I scroll down and the selected page changes, but this doesn't mean that you have to have one page for this. It doesn't limit you in any way. You can change your menu however you want it to be, and you can create pages inside of your site however you want them to be. So this is also interesting because I also wanted to show you how to do one-page sites with this theme. So going back to the demo, and now that we have imported all the content, I will get started and I'll show you how to edit this slider first, and how easy it is to basically drag and drop and change the text and do animations and that kind of a thing. And then we'll start changing some text, maybe change the position around, and I'll show you how to add sections where you can have multiple columns and stuff like that. So, jumping right into how the theme is laid out from top to bottom, you have total control on how this header element is displayed here. And once you scroll down on this page, you'll still see that the bar is there and the uh, active link changes based on where I am on the site. So if I'm scrolling like that, the active one changes because it's a one page site basically. And you can change all that. You can have internals on the links and stuff like that, which I'll show you once we go in the theme options and the menu configuration. So let's get started with that. Before that, I will also show you like different things that are set up in this page, and we'll get rid of this widget so this theme looks more cleaner. So let's do that first, then I'll show you the menu configuration, and then we'll talk about the options. So going back, and if you go to the appearance and widgets, I have a footer which has a bunch of widgets inside of it. So basically I will just remove them. They are the defaults, and WordPress for some reason decided to add them inside of these widgets. By the way, you can also define multiple sidebars, unlimited sidebars with this theme, and they will show up in the widget area. You can put any widgets that you like inside of those sidebars. Okay, and I'll make sure that my footer 2, footer 3, and footer 4 don't have anything in it. So now if I refresh this page, I should come up with a clean template. And the last thing I display is this, which is of course also configurable, and it shows a contact form at the bottom with contact form 7. We'll talk about that as well. So now let's talk about the menu and how it is configured. Basically, if you go to the appearance and menus, your theme is configured to have these as custom links for right now. So everything on the page is basically going to some anchor. So you see a pound sign and about, and here there is an about section. So if you click on that, it'll take you here. So it means this section, before this section starts, there has to be a anchor defined here that is internal, so the page can scroll to it. And there is some JavaScript and CSS defined that makes the scrolling smoother and looks nicer the way it is on the theme. So basically that's the menu, and if you wanted to add pages to it or new sections to it, all you could do, just like this, you can define a custom link here with your new anchor, just like they have done here, like that. And then you can just define some anchor links and basically work your way through that. If you wanted to have, like, let's say all these links were different pages and not sections within the page, then what you will do is go to pages, and all your pages will show up here. You can click on that, add to menu, and you can control the menu that way. Now that is how the menu is set up. What about like the different options that the theme has? So let's walk over the options panel, and I'll show you how easy it is basically to change the header styles and things like that. So if I go to appearance and clicks on B theme options, it'll open the options panel, and here you find a bunch of different options. So getting started with the global settings, you can have a full width or a box layout. This is a full width layout. You see how the slider spans across the whole page and it takes the whole width. You don't see any margins on either side of the page. So that is a full width. I personally like full width, but if you want a box, you can go with a box and define a grid width, whatever you want it to be. And you can also display different kind of images if you want. Like if the background is boxed, then you can display an image in the background, and you can also select the position of that image on where it goes on the page. Like you can say only center right, and it'll display in the center right of your box. Also, some useful settings here is the favorite icon. Right now you see this B option here. You can develop your own and just browse to it, and you'll start seeing a different favorite icon for a site. You can also define the one for your touch icons. Logo is the number one question asked on doing WordPress themes, is how do I change the logo. You can come to the theme options, there is a logo options, and you can change that. Like you can remove this by clicking on remove and upload your logo. For right now I'll just leave it to this image, which is B profile. Retinal logo is typically a higher resolution, bigger. You see retinal logo should be twice as large as the custom logo. So you upload a high resolution image which is twice as big as your logo. Sticky header or logo optional. For example, if I scroll down on this page, this header bar is still displayed. So you can show a different image here where your logo is, or you can show a different logo based on when somebody scrolls and there is a sticky header on your page. You can choose to display a different logo, or you can keep it the same. If you don't define it, it'll be the same. You can not use logo at all and just use some text, which you can write in this box where it says text logo, and that will start displaying here. And SVG is also a vector graphics kind of a logo. You can also specify an SVG if you need to display your logo like that, or if you have an SVG. Moving on, I don't think that sliders I'm going to change anything here. Basically, these don't mix them up with this slider on the home page. These are the custom sliders that are built with like featured images and custom post types, so I don't recommend changing anything here. Advanced is for a little advanced developer. Like here you see options like custom post types like testimonials and templates and slides, portfolio, those kind of a thing. And then you can also define some other option like the content, where would the Muffin editor be and where the WordPress editor should be, and what the visibility option is, and whether you want to disable the demo data and theme functions like that. I don't recommend changing anything here. And hooks is for really advanced developers who know what they're doing. They can hook into like PHP functions and define your own functions from here. This is pretty nice to have too, because a lot of themes don't offer it. So going back to the main area where you might be interested in is how do I change this header bar so it looks different, and what options do I have. So basically you go to the header and subheader options, and the first one there is header. So if you wanted to display your header like that, you could basically select anything. Basically I can go with that and say save changes here, and once I save changes, it's gonna start displaying a different style where the slider will, like the header will become transparent, and now you see that logo is still on the left, and this menu is on the right. So you can have total control. There are so many to choose from, so this can even go at the bottom. So you can choose whatever you want, and you have total control on the size and colors and those kind of things with this header. So right now I'll put it back to how it was, because that did look much better. So I will just save changes here, and then you can also do like sticky off. So if you do sticky off, then it's not going to display that sticky header bar. And basically other options I don't recommend changing. You can change this theme as the theme of the sticky style as well to be dark or white based on how your layout is, or you can do it anytime when you're doing your custom CSS. So with custom CSS you can totally change like to be a different color altogether, and maybe it is a theme option, I don't know, but custom CSS is also supported in the theme. So I'll refresh it now to reflect the menu change that I did, like the style of the menu, and I'll put it back as it was. The other important options, for example, menu and action bar, you can select alignment here of the menu. So right now the menu is right aligned. If you're going with a header style where you need the menu to be left aligned, you can uncheck this box, and in the styles you will change the options accordingly. Sidebars, this theme has unlimited sidebars, and you can click on this button and add a title, and basically all those sidebars will be featured on the widgets under appearance, and you can click and you can drag widgets onto your sidebars as you want them to be and put content over there. The reason is, like, a lot of different pages can have different sidebars. For example, your contact page can have testimonials on the sidebar, and your testimonials page can have the contacts on the sidebar, or in the about page can have some advertisements and things like that. So to do that, you can configure what sidebar is being used by a page with page options, and you can add unlimited sidebars here. You can define the width of the sidebar as well, and by default it's going to take 23% of the page, and you can increase or decrease that to achieve a different look. And these options, by the way, are pretty standard, so I don't think you'll be changing a lot here. Blog, portfolio, and shop deals with the different post types and how your post will be displayed. Do you want to display a sharing option on your post? I just got a text message, so you can kindly ignore that. And you can also configure whether love box or all pages in pagination will be displayed or not. So you can play around with these options and get a different look and feel. The footer options are here, and you can change the layout to be something else as well. So if you are looking for 4-column footer, you can change the 1x4 1x4 and then fill up all the footer style 1, footer style 2, footer 3, footer 4 in your widgets. If you want just one column, you can select that. You can put a background image in your footer, and then you can this call to action is, if you start this, like, you can put a copyright message, for example, here at the bottom where I was saying that it's configurable. Right now it's just the default, so you can change it by defining that in this box. Back to top button, you can say hide or sticky, or however you want to configure it. Basically, it is when you're down here, it's gonna say back to top, and when you click on it, it's gonna take you right at the top. And social bar is configured to be centered, and some more options that I'm sure you are going to explore. Responsive deals with how the site will be displayed on a tablet and on a cell phone. This is very, very important, and I really like this theme because the responsive layouts are very good. So if you had to resize this window, it'll become much smaller. You still see that the layout still holds up and everything makes sense. You see how the menu options have changed here, and you can drag this and everything looks perfectly aligned and lays out very nicely like a mobile app. So I'll resize that again. And basically this was just to show you an idea on how it's gonna look on the responsive view. So you can go back and change that to be off if you don't wish to have a nice layout on the mobile, which I highly doubt. So you'll keep that on. You can also choose to add a wide wrapper on the mobile and display a different logo if you want, and upload the retina logo as well. On the mobile, if you want to decrease the font size, currently it is an option, but if you don't, you can turn it off. Hover effects, like for example, if there are images and I hover over them, like, they can zoom in or zoom out or animate. If you want to turn that off on the mobile, which typically I do, is you can turn those options off. So right now, and other options are pretty self-explanatory, so you can play around with these options. Social media options are here, and they basically are links to your social profiles, so you can whatever you want to display, you can add your links here, and whatever you don't want to display, you just leave it empty, and the ones that have a link defined will be displayed. The most interesting part is the colors, and you see how the different sections are laid out here. So basically the general, you can define the body color here, which is the background color of the text if you just added a column. And then you have one color, which can be only used if you're using a one color skin. Header, you can choose the menu colors here. Basically the colors that are being displayed are brown, like this brownish shade, and and the gray, so you can change all that and on how this different colors on the header section will be. And then, oh, I'm sorry, the one that I'm talking about is the menu and action bar. So this is brown and gray and white, so you can change these colors here, and the change is going to reflect here. So you can change how the menu is colors are, you can change how the content color is, and you can change how the footer text will be displayed, and you can style your short codes here as well. So if you want a typical different color on the button, you can define it here, and you can, I don't think that the button short code can be styled here, but a lot of other short codes like block codes or accordion tabs and titles and counter icons are configured here. The other shortcodes will give you an option to put this color code in if you wish, or you can always write custom CSS for it. The fonts options are here, so you can display, these are basically, Roboto is a Google font, so these are Google fonts basically, and you can select what kind of formatting goes on these fonts and save your changes if you don't like the fonts. And if you want to make them bigger or smaller, you can come to size, and it's gonna basically tell you how different sizes are being displayed on the theme. Then you have the translation options, like the ones that are here are page title, heading, heading 1, main menu, and content. So this pretty much covers everything if you have these set up right. But if there are custom elements that you want to have different sizes on, then you'll have to write custom CSS for it, which is right here. And to make this theme work, they just had to do this, and you can define like a whole bunch of your settings as well. They just put in something over here. So in the heading 2, heading 3, and heading 4, there is a font weight and letter spacing defined. So all you need to do is you can define all the custom classes here that you want. So this was a nice overview of the options. If you have any questions or you would like to discuss something, feel free to leave a comment to this video, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. So in the next section, I'll go over the page architecture, and I'll discuss in detail how the page is laid out and how we use different elements in the Muffin builder. Okay, so now you have a fair understanding of what the B theme options panel is about and what kind of options you can change, like style, fonts, heading sizes, font styles, and styling shortcodes, layouts like box layout or full width layout, icons, sticky headers, header styles, all those things you can change in the options panel. So I will jump right into the fun stuff and show you how to edit the sliders, create new slides and stuff like that. How do you change the content, and how do you come up with layouts, and how do you work with the Muffin builder. So starting off with the slider. So looking at the slider, what it is basically it is one image where the lady is. It's image of the like the background image of the slider is the gray background with the lady on it, and these are text layers. So basically you can change the text, you can style it any way you want, you can pretty much add more text layers to that. And to do that, what you need to do is to go back to your dashboard and click on slider revolution here. And once the slider resolution opens, this is the slider that is being displayed. And basically what I did was I opened that page in my editor as well. So this is the page and the Muffin builder. So looking at the page, you have the Visual Composer at the top. I don't prefer using Visual Composer, but if you do and you have experience, go right ahead with it. I really like this Muffin builder. The new Muffin builder I think is really slick. So I'll show you how to use that, and when we talk about editing the pages. The page also specifies what slider is being used here. And the slider that is being used here is the revolution slider. So I think that option is, if I refresh the page, because I imported the slider, you see this is configured to use this slider, revolution slider, and slider called home profile. So that is the slider that is being used, home profile, and this is the one that is meant for home page and the profile. So let's edit that slider. I'll click on the little pencil here and it'll open the slides up, and you see that it has a background image with the lady and this gray background, and you can change it by clicking on this change image. I'm working with limited images, so I will leave it as it is. But if you wish to change it or put another image or any like a plain background with text, you can do all of that, and I'll show you how to edit text. To edit text in the new Revolution slider, you can basically just double click it and it'll pop up this. So basically I'm just gonna change that to and BR is the page break for HTML, so it's gonna go to a new line when we say BR, and I will just put the name of my customization service here. And once you are done, you can click on that, and you can also change the title so you know which layer you have changed. So you can place it anywhere you want, and you can also I'll also change this text, and I will put something like something like that. And once you do that, you can click on that or click outside of this black box, and you will see the change. And you can also change where all these options are drag and drop, so you can drag layers and drop them wherever you want them to be. And you can edit the links and the text on the About Us button as well. Like you can double click it, and instead of saying About Us, you can say that. And you can also like change where the button is going by changing the link to the page that it links to. So that is all done here. You can also bring in the animations, like you can click on the slider and you can click on the animation tab, and right now it's being displayed like that. You can display in like however you want. So you can do long from left, and it'll start sliding in from the left. Oh, I'm sorry, this is the out effect. You have to select the in effect, and you can say long from left, and you'll see that it slides in like that. And you can select this and say short from right or something like that. So short from right, and you can control the speed of the animation by these parameters here. So instead of this like this, we will change it to like 2000, and then it'll slow down in terms of animation. So I'll make those changes and edits here. I can style these layers as well. I can change their style by, I believe in the new one there is an option here. So you click on the style, and then it brings the style editor here. So if I had to change the color or font size and those kind of things, I could make those changes here, or I can write custom CSS in my slider style. So they offer to the custom CSS as well. After you are done with the changes, you need to save the slide, and then these changes will be visible on the main page. So if I refresh this main page now, you will see that instead of that, the text is going to change and the animation's changing. So that is how you edit the slider. You can also choose to add more layers by clicking on the add layer. HTML image or HTML5 videos are supported in this slider, which is pretty cool. So you can do HTML videos, select a video with a nice overlay on it that goes well with the colors of the site, and it'll look really attractive. So those are some of the things that you do as a designer to add more aesthetics appeal to your pages or design. So you can be creative and you can do whatever pretty much you want, and then you can also add slides. So you can add slides or add slides from template here and keep designing, and you can have 2 or 3 slides with the navigation. So that's just an idea. Typically on one page I just like a 1 or 2 slides, so the user is not, like the visitor is not really distracted. So now to the fun part on how to use Muffin Builder. Okay, so now to the fun part on how to edit the page using the Muffin Builder, and I'll go in detail. First off, before you start looking at the code and how things are laid out using the Muffin Builder, what you need to understand is all the content is laid out in terms of section. So basically this whole thing is one section, and then there is my achievements, which is the next section, and if you go further down, the latest work is another section. So basically when I say section, it is like a row. So basically you have rows, and then each row is subdivided into columns. So basically it can be thought of as a table, but it is not a fixed layout table. So you can have multiple rows and each row can have multiple columns. So that is how you do responsive design, and it looks really good on the cell phones and smartphones and tablets and whatever display you are on. So that is the trick, and it is achieved by doing a lot of media queries, CSS, and those kind of things. So you don't need to know a lot of detail about that. That's the beauty of this theme and the builder. You can just visually design it and lay out your content in a very effective manner. So let's jump right into it. What I plan to do is maybe change this section a little bit. I will put an image and some text on the right side, so a 2-column layout to begin with. Then I will maybe add another section and show you how parallax images are done. And I think you will get a fair idea on how to edit these, and we'll talk about some visual builders as well, visual builder elements as well. So looking at the page, here you see, if you scroll up, and when the Muffin Builder starts, here is a heading. So they begin with a heading, and if you want to edit this heading, basically what you have is a H2 where it says summary about me. So if you go to the page, remember your page starts from here and the slider is before that. So the summary about me heading is here, and then you have another row, and in the another row you have 2 columns. So the first column, you click on the little pencil and it talks about this education piece, and the second column, if you click on the little pencil, it talks about the career piece. And you can have different alignment on the different columns. You can use a background, you can define margins, you can define padding, you can animate these sections, which is very cool without worrying about any JavaScript or CSS. So basically, let's say that in this whole thing, like the 2 columns and the heading is inside of a container. Actually, it's inside of 2 different containers. The first heading is inside of a container, which is this, and then the second 2 columns is inside of another container, which is this. So basically this is the parent container, and inside it has another container, and that container basically has a column, and then there is another container that has 2 columns. So one big container, which is a section, and then inside of that or a wrapping div, inside of that is another 2 containers, one with 1 column and one with 2 columns. So that was just to explain to you how this container things work. If let's say I want to add a new section altogether, I can click on the add section button here, and once I click on the add section, the Muffin Builder is going to add a section at the bottom. This is really fast and effective without like a lot of delay that you see in a lot of themes like that. And in the section you can click on add wrap, and then you see that it creates another container inside of your main section. And if you wanted to have like another section inside of this section, you could add another container by doing an add wrap. But in this scenario, you can, like I'll show you how you can add items to your to your container, or you can add columns to your container, and how you can define a layout. So basically inside of this, I think I should have two columns. So basically what I'm going to do is add item, and then I can select the column shortcode from here, and here's the column shortcode. So I'll click on it, and once I click on it, it gives me a 1x4 column. So basically I want a half column, not a 1x4. So I'll click on this plus sign here, and then I can be a half column. And now I need another column, so I can add item again, and I can select the column again, and then I can increase it to half. So now I have two columns to work with. One is the first half and one is the second half. Another thing is these sections are totally drag and drop, so you can drag them to wherever you want to be. So my intent is to replace the first section on my page, so I will drag this, and I'm using the mouse wheel so I don't drop it anywhere I don't want to, and I will put it right on the top. So that is it. So now if I go and edit this column, and I can add elements to it, basically once I click on this little pencil, this is going to show what kind of title I use and what kind of content I have. And in the content, you can also decide to add images and stuff like that to this. Okay, so you can add content shortcode, and then you can add, maybe if you were thinking this should be an image. So basically you can click on the image here, and then you can specify what image would you like to display here. So in my scenario, let's go to my media library. So we'll see if we have any image that suits this width. Maybe this cartoon image would be nice to have on the front page, which is the slider revolution or something like that. So I will grab the URL from here and close this, and when I was editing the page, I can assign the src attribute of the shortcode to my image, and I can say align, I want to center align the image, and I can say text align should be center, but there is really no text, so the only thing there is the image. And then I can do animation, I can say a bunch of them, so I will say bounce in up. Okay, so if I save the change now and then I update the page, I think I should see a cartoon with some animation on the left side when the page begins. So I think this is all done. You see how fast it was, and then I can refresh this page, and basically you see how I have added a cartoon before the summary and about me section. Basically what we are looking at is we would like typically to have some more spacing where the cartoon is. So basically to add more spacing, we can add we can either change this container or this container. So I will decide to add some spacing at the top container, and I can always say padding top. I will specify a value of 20 pixels and see how it looks. So I can save changes again, and I can update the page, and because this is so fast, it's very easy to make these kind of changes. So once you are done there, I can refresh the page again, and now you'll see that this cartoon will go down a little bit. So you see that there is some more space, but this is not enough, and I would like more. So I will add some more, and I will go in, and basically you can also decide how much you want by looking at the CSS, and you'll see that the top div has a padding defined to it. So you see the padding top is 20 pixels. So if you want to visualize how it's going to look, if I had 40 pixels, you can edit this inside of your browser and see. So if I make this like 50, there's still nothing. So if I make it 100 pixel, then it's pretty much what I want. So this is what I want. So I can make this padding, instead of 20 pixels, I will make it, maybe I'm editing the wrong thing here. So the top one here, I will make it like 100 pixel, and then I will see that there is enough padding on my element. So if I update this page and now if I refresh it, you'll see that the cartoon is down, and now I can have a section on the right with some heading H2, some divider that talks about something like that. So if you go to here and in the second column you edit that, and here you just write something. I will just format it as H2, and you can do that as well, like you say and you can select this and say H2, and it'll wrap this text in H2, and say you can just list what you are about, and you can say a bunch of things like that, and you can style them by using CSS as well. Instead of this, I think it will look better if I had like a paragraph. So let's Google lorem spam again, and we will come across some text that we can use to style or show you how it's gonna look. So I'll just copy that, and then I'll go to this editor, and then I will paste this text a couple times. And you can have this inside of a paragraph that you can style, and then you can also do text align center. You can specify a background color in hex codes, and you can define margins on your text with some padding. So it's pretty nice. So once you update that, because I defined padding on my top div, they should pretty much start from the same place. So the padding should apply to the second section in the div as well. So now you see that I have a bunch of text, and then I have a cartoon here. So let's say in the next section I wanted to display something. I'll remove this section now, and I want to display something else with a parallax image maybe. So what you need to do for that is go back to your builder. First, I wanted to delete this summary section, so I'll delete the heading. Actually, I deleted the container, so that is great. Everything is gone now in terms of where the summary section was, and I can add a new section and put parallax image on there. So what you need to do is click on the new section that I added, and maybe add a wrap on there. It gives you this container, and then you can add item. Maybe you want to, and you can pick and choose exactly what you want. If you want to display blog posts, you can click on blog. These are different custom post types. You can display a chart, you can display your clients if you're using custom post types. You can say progress bars and pricing items, maps, shopping sliders, tabs. I don't know what exactly a story box is, but you get the idea, and you can play around with these different things if you like. I typically use columns, and inside of columns I use formatting with HTML, but that is the poor man way of doing it. So you can be creative, and you can use pretty much whatever you want. So here I will just add one column, and once you have the column, I'll just make it a whole width, and then I can edit that column and put in a same bunch of text, and then I can style this section a little bit. So my way of styling it is first you can do a H2, and then you can wrap all this text in a paragraph, and I'll tell you why. So once you wrap this in a paragraph, then it gives you the ability to style the paragraph by writing some CSS. And I will just make this center line, and you can define margins as well. So if you wanted a 20 pixels margin from the left or right, if it is left or right aligned, you can do that. You can specify padding, which will give it some space from the top. So I can save changes here. I can go to the main div and define some padding. Top will be like 40 pixels, and I will save the changes here. Once that is done, I can drag and drop this wherever I want. So I will drag this right underneath of where I added the cartoon. There you go. And now I can update the page. So once I do update the page and I go to the demo page again and refresh it, I should see a bunch more added. You see some more samples and some more text is defined. Now I want to put a parallax image behind it, and what I mean by parallax is a full width image, and it should display an image that doesn't scroll when I scroll with my scroll bar. And then you can click on that, and on the second column here you can go to the main div, or you can go inside of the container as well, and you'll get pretty much the same things. So if you want to do that, you can do that as well. So inside of these properties, basically what you're looking for is a background. So background image, position, and you see a background or color. So you can put a color here, or you can put an image here. Let's see if I have an image that is wide enough to support a parallax. Maybe this, I don't know, we'll see. And I don't want to stretch the images too much, but let's see how this looks. So I can select parallax from here, and then I can save the changes and update the page and see how it looks. So now if I go in there and refresh it, to see more samples, you see a full width background behind it. And because I support parallax, I think this image is not tall enough to, or the text is not enough to scroll, but basically you get the idea. You see a very light image here, and we can play around with this. I can also change that to be a color. So for example, the color they have in the example, I can just copy and paste that and see how that looks. So I can remove this and put that color, and if you need, you can just Google the color tool, or you can go in the theme options and it'll tell you what hex colors are from the color wheel. So that is pretty simple to do, and then we'll see how this looks. Okay, now you see that it added a gray background, full width background onto my section. I would think that this text, if it was like white or some other color, it might look better. So I can style it all I want, and that is the reason I added that text inside of a paragraph. So inside of a paragraph, if I have something like font, if I just do color white, so that makes it like that, and I can then click on this and pick whatever color I want. Maybe not white, but maybe this, or this, or whatever you like. So basically I'll leave it at that. So I can pick this color code, and I think this color code will work great for my thing. And then I can style it further, and I can say font size, and if I want a different font size than the body, here I can make it whatever I want. So maybe I want this text large, and I can use a totally different text from Google fonts as well. So I can do that and just copy this in my style for my paragraph. So I can go there and go to the section that is displaying all this text and edit that. And oh, I'm in the wrong section. Basically I added the section here, I believe, and see some more samples. So the P, I can add a style tag to this, equals quote, and in between the quotes I can basically copy and paste what I got from there. So I can specify the styles like that. And then if you see, I don't need an end parenthesis. I can also style the heading in the same way. So if I right click on that and inspect element, I see this, and I see maybe it needs to be bigger. The H2 needs to be bigger than what is specified in the page. We can make it like that, or you can do whatever pretty much you want. So if maybe I wanted 32 pixels, so 32 pixels would be like that. Maybe I need 48 pixels, and that would be like this. And then if I need a little space underneath of the heading, I can say padding bottom, maybe specify 20 pixels of that, and it'll reduce the text a little bit. Maybe 40 pixels will look better. And if I need some spacing from the top, I can say padding top 30 pixels. So that'll do, and I will style my heading like that. So my heading tag, which was here, I can go in here, say style equals quote, put in this formatting. So I have a padding top, padding, and you could, of course, you can do that with Visual Builder elements as well by defining different items and define padding on them, but I just find it quicker and easier for demo purposes. And if you're a little familiar with HTML formatting, that makes your task very easy. So once that is done, I'll refresh this page here, and then you see that my text is styled that maybe a button would be nice here as well. So looking at some more visual elements that are used in this particular design, you could go in here and look at the ones that follow. So I see that there are 3 counters here. So if you click on that, and there is some counter elements here, and the content is being displayed here. You see a percentage here, 10%, and you can style that in the theme panel as well. And there is again quick facts, you can edit that, and then you see some text here. The number is 89. I'm sorry, the first one, the number was 142. So there is some text that you can edit, and then there is this, and they are styling the text with some CSS or style tag, so that you can use this counter as well. For example, if I had to use some counter elements here, I could just add another section here and move these around. These can also be moved wherever you want, in whatever section you want. So you can do all of that, and you can use whatever elements you want. Once again, if you click on the add item, you'll see all the different ones. Like you can have an icon box, and then you can basically click on the little pencil here and select what icon you want to use for your stuff. You can maybe define a bulb, or you can define a music, or whatever goes well with your content. So I think this gives you a fair idea on how to define pages. For internal pages, I think it's very simple because it doesn't have a lot of design. So basically you just have to think in terms of design for the main page, and how the content will be laid out, how you use images. Another cool one, like another very nice shortcut that they have, is for videos. So you can use that as well, like a video. So you can use a video, and you can put shortcodes for YouTube or Vimeo and stuff like that over there, instead of using iframes on a content block. So this gives you a bunch of options. If you want to show blog or blog entries there, or portfolio, you can even do that on the home page. You can use the divider, and the divider gives like a line or something like that on the theme. So it gives you a bunch of options that you can play around with and come up with your best combination, and it has all the tools. And again, if you go to their page, there is so much to look at and get inspiration from, that you can get some really nice design ideas.